afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for June 11th, 2020, Thursday. I think our biggest challenge is ourselves. And what I mean by that is that we all fight ourselves. We have a tendency to grapple with ourselves in a lot of different things. Some are minuscule, insignificant in a lot of ways, and others are, to us, paramount. And I think that the main reason is that we don't know what's beyond that conflict, where we can literally melt through our genuineness from within and eliminate all the illusions that are thrown at us or that we create for ourselves. See, just about everything that obstructs us is an illusion that we have created and whipped up the ego mind and moved that energy into form and created it into reality. So picture yourself eliminating the veils of illusion and resting in the peaceful center of pure being with ease, without hurriedness, without forcing, without rushing, and just resting in the peaceful center of pure being. What that means is that we go to the total beingness. You have no motivation to do anything else but just be. And what is that? Well, it's you find a place or be in a place where you are completely relaxed. You're not thinking. You're not using the mind. You're not energizing the mind. You're not mixing it. You're getting it going. You leave the mind alone. And all you do is you just be within you. And you conquer all the battles that you have with yourself. That's all they are. They are conflict. All of us within, we have this conflict that we wrestle with. That doesn't mean we tell people. A lot of us keep it to ourselves. In fact, the majority of us do. But we wrestle with things. We challenge things that maybe sometimes we don't understand. We fight ourselves on things. We get into situations where so you catch yourself saying, "Why did you do that? What's wrong with you? Why were you doing that? Or why are you thinking that? That's not a good thing to think." Or are you already defeating yourself before you even get going? Listen to yourself. And these are all things that we conflict with and fight ourselves on. Now, obviously, is that a distraction? Well, maybe it is for ourselves. Maybe it keeps us from embracing the God within us, the peacefulness, the peaceful center of our pure being, where it all is find the center of your being, focus of the peace within you. So it's like going somewhere and just sitting and doing nothing and being. And I don't mean being lazy. I just mean that you're just focused on being. So picture a lake. Okay, there's nothing around, really. There's no cities and that type of thing. It's just country. And you're in a lake, and there's a big rock that sits up by the lake, and it's got a flat top on it. And you just go up there and sit on that rock and look over the lake. And you feel the breeze, and you just close your eyes, and you just be in a peaceful center of you. And that's where the peace is, within us. It's not outside. See, all these things, and then that's where we get in conflict and fight ourselves. because we don't really understand that, hey, everything's inside of me. Why am I fighting myself? Why am I fighting myself from being at peace? You know, and these illusions, and they're all illusions that we create for ourselves. So some of them instigate fear, some of them instigate anger, but they're there. And once we're able to walk through those illusions, then we find our center, our peace, and we move easy as we go, you know, slowly but surely, and not really fighting anything, and just letting go. No expectations, no attachments. That's very crucial that we embrace that. No expectations, no attachments, and we just flow. We go with that flow. You imagine you're talking with someone you know, and they say, "What are you doing today?" Well, I just thought I would be. I just thought I would be. And they probably look at you with a, kind of a strange look on their face. What are they talking about? Just thought they would be. And being is totally detaching from your external influences everywhere. Where you're at in life, what you're doing. It's just totally just disconnecting with it, going within. It'll still be there when you get back. But in the meantime, you take these, they're kind of a shift, or you're going to take a break from external authorities and external influences, and a break from being you influencing you, and just be. It's quite enlightening to just be. For some of us, it takes a bit because we've got such a lot of chatter and noise, and thoughts and everything, and it takes a while to shut that off, turn the switch off. It's like you turn the switch off and leave the room. Okay, and so you're not in that room. You're not in that physicality, that awareness of all this stuff around you, where you're at in life, what you're doing, what you want to do, what direction. It makes a big difference to be able to master that. It takes some attempts, because have you ever done this? Have you ever been focusing on something, and as you focus on it, you find yourself being drawn away from it with other thoughts? You ever done that? And then you start over because you lose your place with what you were focusing with. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that, where you're focused doing something or thinking something, or maybe it's a meditation, maybe it's a mantra, and you go into it, and then you wander off into other thoughts, and you start over 2, 3, 4 times with what you were focused on, and eventually you complete it. But that's what happens, is drifting. It's called drifting, and I'm not talking about the car drifting, but it's drifting, where we drift from thought to thought. Where sometimes when we're in the now, we drift out of the now. We're off into all different thoughts and directions. And when we're concentrating on being in the now, we drift away from it. We literally drift away from being in the now because we have all these other thoughts that start coming in. They're really subtle too. They're quite effective. Because they're very subtle and they're unobtrusive, and they come in and they pull us off, very subtly. And next thing we know, we're off of what our focus was. And you say, I'm not even in the now. What am I doing over here? I don't really care to be over here, so I'll come over here again. I'll come back into the now. But drifting is, a lot of the times we do this during the course of the day, or whatever time it may be. We find ourselves drifting away. Have you ever been talking with someone, and you're talking with them, and they're talking with you, and then all of a sudden, you don't remember anything you were just talking about? It's drifting. You drift out of it. And a lot of times we aren't even aware of it. And so then they ask you, what do you think of that? And you don't have a clue. You're sitting there going, holy cow, where was I when they were telling me that? I wasn't even listening. I was somewhere else. You know? So you could use integrated honesty and say, hey, I'm going to tell you something, Alan. I was somewhere else when you were saying that. You know, don't take it personally, but sometimes I do that. And so could you repeat it to me so I can answer you, give you an answer? See, because a lot of us will do that. We'll just try to, we'll try to fake it, And so we try to get them to go back into saying what they were saying when we were off somewhere else, where we were drifting. And sometimes it works, other times they don't tell you, and you just kind of, well, I'll have to give that some thought. I'll have to give it some thought. And they go, oh, well, boy, that was a simple question I asked, and we're going to have to give that thought. Okay. But we drift. We drift in life. It's not a bad thing. It's quite interesting, though, that have you ever been working on something, say woodworking or something like that, and you're constant, it feels like you're focused on something that you're doing, and then all of a sudden, it seems like there's a big blank, and you stand there, and you have a healthy memory and everything. It's not physical, and it's gone, and you sit there and you go, and you got your tools in your hand and you're working on something. It's like you go, okay, where am I at here right now? It's almost like you stepped out for a few seconds. You drifted. And we do that a lot. Why do we drift? Why do we drift in and out? Well, it's a way to deal with the incessant amount of thoughts that are being machine gunned at us. I mean, literally nonstop. So we just kind of drift away. You've ever been talking to somebody, maybe a family member, maybe a loved one, where and you go, are you listening to me? Because you're looking at them and they seem like they're somewhere else. And they kind of go, well, yeah, I heard you. But you sense, since we're all connected, that they went somewhere briefly. And we drift out of body when we're still attached to body. So when we drift, we literally drift. We drift out of the body, we experience certain things, and then we're kind of like in between. In between. So we're in physical, but we're also in spiritual. We're in etheric energy and in physical. So it's in between. This is what happens to a lot of us when we drift. So when you're drifting, and you begin to know what you're doing. So a lot of people don't know that they're drifting. So when you start drifting, you at least are able to say, okay, I know what's happening, I'm starting to drift. And you lose focus on whatever it is you're doing in the now. It's very subtle at times. So you're drifting, and you're doing something, and you cut yourself, or you're drifting, you're focused on the moment and what you're doing in the moment, but you drift out of it. So it's like you're there and you're not there at the same time. Now, can you somewhat guide the drifting? Yeah, you can at a certain point when you have focused enough and connected enough with your pure consciousness, with the God within you. So it's like being in the now and thinking that you're in the now, in the moment. But in reality, you've drifted into another frequency existence. It's kind of strange. But when you go into just being, and you go to the center of your pure being, the drifting stops. You don't drift anymore. You stay in your being. How many of you, during the course of the day, through your heart mind, say to yourselves that you love yourself? Where you say, Betty, I love you. Okay? How many times during the course of the day, through your heart mind, do you say to yourself, I love the God within me, the pure consciousness? And how many times during the course of the day do you say, I love you, body? Okay. And how many times do you finish it by saying, I am in the highest of the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude? These are all very powerful frequencies. And they also stop us from drifting. We don't drift. And the drifting can get to the point where it's just way out of hand. There's people who have convinced themselves that they're very ill and they're losing their minds and they're going to go off the deep end. They have allowed drifting to take them over. Where there's no solidity, there's no firmness in their lives, and they just continually move in lower and lower and lower frequencies. And that's the severity of drifting, where you could really have some serious challenges. But if you realize that most of the things that we experience externally are literally illusions, and the real, firm reality is within us. It's within us. Now, if you begin to understand that you're looking at everything around you as an illusion, but you've created the illusion to entertain yourself and to literally experience. Does that make sense? So you create these illusions, they seem real to you. You're the one that created them. And you experience. But there's no illusion when you go within and you embrace the God within you, the pure consciousness. That's not illusion. That's reality that you're aware of. And you feel it, you feel it through the heart mind. So drifting comes in many different colors. And sometimes we drift way out of the body. And sometimes you stay so far out of the body that by the time you get back in the body, when you wake up the next morning, you go, wow, I feel like I've been hit by a semi, because you were out of body. That's why. And the longer we stay out of body, the more fatigued the body will be when we get back in it. I know that sounds kind of strange, but that's what happens. You know why that is? Because we're connected. We have to be connected to the body to keep it powered, to keep it functioning. So when we leave the body, and we start drifting, so we leave the body. And when we leave the body's still powered by us. We're still plugged into it. But yet we're not fully in the body. We're not in it. So the power distribution to the body, the brain, and everything, they literally slow down. And that's why the body is so fatigued. And sometimes when we wake up in the morning, where we just are really, really physically tired. And we don't understand it. You could have slept 9 hours and feel that way. So you were out of body too long. Just remember that in drifting goes in many different ways. So when you are understand the body is a device, so to speak, and the device needs to be powered. So you picture yourself that you, the pure consciousness, the God, the soul, the spirit, the higher self, is the power source. So when you come into these bodies, you plug into them. That's how the body stays powered. Period. Okay? And since we aren't aware that we can literally move our cell structure and we can really dictate to ourselves on exactly what to do and when to do it, we have not gotten to that point of awareness yet, because we're journeying within to find out who and what we are. This is a step-by-step process. So in the drifting, we begin to understand why the body feels that way after we've drifted out of the body, because we're the power source for the body. And they don't talk about that. Okay? But we are. We're the power source of the body. We power this body. And people say, well, yeah, well, then what happens when the body, well, when the body breaks down, we can no longer power it to sustain ourselves within it. So we unplug, we leave it. And what happens? It goes totally inert. It shuts down completely. Does that make sense? It plugs into you, the God, the pure consciousness, when the spirit, when you enter it, you power it. Now, when that body's in the mother's womb, the mother's spirit, God, is powering it. Okay? And then it's transferred, the power conduit's transferred over to you when you enter that body. So always remember that when you're drifting. And we all drift. None of us are exempt from it. We all drift. But understand, I'll guarantee you that the majority of the civilization on this planet, right in this now, in this moment, is drifting. They're drifting. They go off in different directions and off different avenues. And drifting can be peaceful, and it can be non-confrontational, just simple, easily. It's like when a boat starts drifting, okay? It just starts moving. It's not being directed. It's just moving. And, it's like you find a piece of wood in the ocean and off on the beach or something that's driftwood. It's a piece of wood that's been drifting. It's wandering. And that's what drifting is, wandering. But when you become consciously aware of it, then you're able to understand more about who and what you are. You say, okay, well, I got this blank spot, I was drifting. It's not an excuse, it's a reality. And it's all about understanding ourselves. It's all about comprehending who and what we are, embracing ourselves, loving ourselves, being gentle and kind and generous and humble with ourselves. That's what this is about. It's like if you're traumatically presented with something that really frightens you and everything, you will find that you will have frequent stages of drifting out of those feelings and emotions. You'll drift out of them. Okay? And, if you're a boat on a lake and it just starts drifting, you don't have an anchor. It just starts, the water moves it, the wind, and it just kind of goes wherever it goes. It's like when you're out in the ocean and you're close to the shoreline and you fall asleep in your boat and you could end up miles out in the middle of nowhere out in the ocean because you drifted out. The wind, the currents, whatever, cause you to drift out. That's similar to what we do while we're in these bodies. We drift out. So identify and understand that. Drifting can be fun. It's not a negative. It's just that most of us aren't aware that we are drifting. That we could be focused doing a task or something, but we're not there. You ever done that? You're focused on doing something, but you're actually not there while you've drifted out. You're drifting. So this meditation, simply put, is drifting. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted, and I'm sure we all are. And the first thing that we desire to do is to relax our bodies. This is really important, relaxing our bodies. And when we relax our bodies, we let everything go. Most of it's an illusion. Just let it fall off of you. It's like having sticky paper all over you, but you can, pull it off and let the skin breathe. You just relax. Drop the shoulders. Anything that you've attracted to yourself in the last 24 hours, eliminate it. Drop it off. If it does not serve you the greater good, why carry it? There's no reason. If you've picked up stress, anxiety, frustration, fear, remorse, anything, let it go. Because I'll tell you something, you've created several illusions exterior of your life that you're experiencing, which is causing these things. So you just let it all float off of you, drop away, into nothingness. And then you can just be. And the body relaxes. And as the body relaxes, we move into the now. And the now really is all we have. Do we have the past? No, we don't have it. It's something that we have experienced and it is gone. It's not going to return. It's gone. It is inert. Do we have a future? No, not yet, because we haven't created it yet. Because when you're focused in the now, in the moment, that's when you're creating your future. Okay? And don't be tricked into thinking that, oh no, that's all random. You know, your future's random, and you just, as you go, you experience it. You have nothing to do with your future. It's already been pre-designed for you. That's just crap. You design your future. You determine exactly how you desire that you want to exist. That's it. So, in the now, we still the mind, the ego mind. All right? The ego has a mind of itself, and then we have the mind. And the mind, quite frankly, is totally out of control, and it's going in every direction, every which way it can. And then you have the ego mind that's just never satisfied. So you still that by being in the now. What does the now do? It causes you to focus only in the moment, the space between heartbeats. That's what it does. So when you focus on the now, you still the mind, the ego mind, and the subconscious mind. All that chatter's gone. I can guarantee you every single time that if you effectively move into the now and focus on the now, you also control your drifting. Then you'll be in a place of peace and just being, because you have found the center and focused on the center of your true being. Now, some of us we all do it at times, but some of us take it to extremes. Some of us go into the past because something will trigger a memory, something that we remember, and it's a good, it's not always good, but say most of the time it's good, and we remember something. And it can be from years ago. And so we embrace that and we reminisce with it. And it seduces us to stay there with it. Now, a lot of the times people can take that past into a future that doesn't exist. And they take that past into a future that doesn't exist, and they create that future from the past. And then they relive the past in that future. And that's why so many people will say, I feel like I've been running in circles my whole life. Why is that? So by being in the now, focusing just on the now, we automatically quiet the mind, still the ego mind, still the subconscious mind, and we're just being. We'll focus on, clipping our fingernails, or putting lotion on, or looking at the hair follicles on our body, or something like that. And that's all we're focused on, nothing else. And then we are careful so we don't start drifting out of that. When we drift out of it, that's when we'll cut ourselves, or that's when we'll stub our toes, so we're not paying attention because we've drifted out of the now. Now also, we want to breathe. While we're relaxing the body, we want to breathe. And we want to breath in through the nose and breath out through the mouth. Now visualize this, because breathing is just paramount. Absolutely super important. So we start at the base of our bodies, and we go to the first chakra. And the first chakra is the root chakra, which is the red wheel of light, which is the I am. And then we move to the orange chakra, the orange wheel of light, the I feel, the sacral chakra. And this is the breath, divine positive energy, remember, that we've breathed in, and we're pulling it up through our bodies, the center of our bodies. Then we go to the yellow wheel of light, the solar plexus chakra, the I do. And then we go to the heart chakra, the I love, the green wheel of light. And then we go to the throat chakra, the Vishuddha, the I talk, which is a blue wheel of light. And then we go to the third eye chakra, the Asha, the I see, the violet wheel of light. And then finally we end up with that divine positive energy breath in the crown chakra, I understand, which is the purple wheel of light. And visualize this as we bring it up into the back of our heads. We hold it briefly, just briefly. I am light, I am love, I am. And in that brief moment, we compress it and condense it into pure liquid energy. And as we do that, we release it effortlessly over the pineal gland. And you can literally feel it as you release it. It's very powerful frequency and energy. And it's liquefied. And it literally bathes, floods, and saturates the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is not too operative. It has been compromised, so to speak. And we look at it as a prune. I look at it as a rosebud, because you've all seen rosebuds. They haven't bloomed or anything. They look like a green ball. And then they begin to come alive. It's fascinating. And as you release this pure liquid frequency onto the pineal, it begins to expand, and it literally, you view it come into full form. Now, each time we do this, each time we bring the breath up through the wheels of light, through the chakras, the center of our body, we then compress and condense this frequency into liquid energy, and then we release it onto pineal gland. And then eventually, you have a fully bloomed rose, massive, huge, okay, comparatively speaking to the size that it was. And the petals don't die, it's immortal. And the pineal gland, while we're in these bodies, is very important to us because it's the gateway to all the particles of existence. It's also the gateway to our pure consciousness and the gateway to beyond. So this exercise that we do is very important through the heart-mind. So as we relax the body, we move into the now, and we breathe, which focuses us only on the now, because the breath is only the now. We can't debate that. It isn't arguable. It is only the now. So as we do this, we recognize and realize that we are the one. We are the love, and we are the God, the pure consciousness. And we're all consciously aware that we are the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest and deepest, eternal gratitude. We're merged. We're merged with our body, with the God within, the pure consciousness, with the heart mind. So by merging, we create a paradise, a God planet. Obviously, we're all gods inside these bodies, so this planet can only be a God planet. And then we create the paradise, because we are the paradise. We have others with us. Now, visualize as we assemble this circle of light, the massive numbers of all of us that are parts of creation and parts of source creation, their consciousness, coming together. So we have the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the archetypes. These are trillions in this civilization, and they vibrate at a different frequency than we do. This is why we don't see them like we see each other. They are helping us all the time. And believe it or not, we help them a lot too. So they will appear at times and it will dawn on us. Usually doesn't dawn on us when we're talking with them, but when they disappear, then it comes in, and we know that was an angel in humanoid form, that was giving me a message. And then you basically you thank them, appreciate the message, because it's a deep-seated message usually, and it's a very fun, enjoyable message. So they can surround us in the tens of thousands at any one time, and the reason they can is because their frequency allows them to inhabit a small amount of space and a great amount of number. And they're consciously aware that they are the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest, deepest, eternal gratitude. And we have the Ascended Masters: Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Saint Germain, Sananda Jesus, El Morya, Abundancia, Hell and Thought, many, many, many more. And they've ascended out of physical body into God form, pure consciousness. So they hold God form, pure consciousness. And they've been assisting us for a very long time. We have ascended into physical form, into body, to experience physical body, to experience this existence in this body. We are perfecting, they are perfecting, the archangels are perfecting, we're all perfecting, we're all experiencing, we're all learning at different shapes, sizes, and degrees, different amount. But and all in all, in the end, the culmination of the beginning, we're all on the same path. We all end up on the same road together because we're all one. Each of us experiencing different avenues. It's fascinating. And so, they've been assisting us and we've been assisting them. Now there's three groups of us, the angels, the archangels in the trillions, the ascended masters in many, and then us in the millions. And we're gathering at the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya. So, then our whole direction is to invite as many high-frequency ones that are part of us to this gathering, to this meditation. So we call out to all the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever, beyond, and forever. And only those that are consciously aware that they are the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest and deepest, eternal gratitude can join us in this meditation, in this now, in this forming of the circle of light. Because their frequency must be high. It would be very disruptive for those who came in that have very low frequencies, because it would damage them and it would disintegrate them. So therefore they couldn't participate no matter how much they tried to trick or deceive. They wouldn't be, they can't. So in that understanding, they come in the Glugaplexes. Glugaplex fills this universe. They come in the trillions of Glugaplexes from every direction. Now, we also call upon all of the inhabitants of inner Earth, Agartha, beneath Earth, and hollow Earth. These are many, many, many civilizations. Only those who are consciously aware that they are the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest and deepest, eternal gratitude can join us in this now, in this gathering, in this meditation, in this forming of the circle of light. Now we call upon all the galactics, all the off-worlders. And in this quadrant of the galaxy, in this solar system, over 1,000 civilizations and species come through this area every day. And we're only familiar with a few of them. The Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Arcturians, and Andromedans. We have the Golden Pyramid. We have the Avians. We have Feline, we have Zeta Reticuli. There are a lot of others. There's the Nords, there's the Greys, there's the Draco, the good and the bad, there's the Reptilian. There's many, many, many. And only those who are consciously aware that they are the highest, deepest, eternal love from the highest, deepest, eternal love and the highest and deepest, eternal gratitude Join us in this now, in this meditation, this gathering, this forming of the circle of light. Now, they come in the billions, and they've been assisting us with our evolution, with our enlightenment, with our ascension, and with our freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. And they come in the billions. Then we call upon all of our loved ones, all of those who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inhabited. And only those who are consciously aware that they are the highest, deepest eternal love, from the highest, deepest eternal love, and the highest and deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this now, in this meditation, in this gathering, in this forming of the circle of light. We also call upon all the light energy beings who have decided to be housed in the following forms on and above and below this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, in this now, in this meditation, in this gathering, and this forming of the circle of light. Now, just to name a few of them, the fairies, the sprites, the elves, the dwarves, the gnomes, the trolls, the trees, the elementals, earth, air, water, fire, ether, the mermaid, the dolphin, the whale, the Pegasus, the unicorn, the centaur, and the minotaur. Many, many, many more. And they come in the trillions, and only those who are consciously aware that they are of the highest, deepest eternal love, from the highest, deepest eternal love, and the highest and deepest eternal gratitude, can join us in this now, in this forming of this circle of light, in this meditation, in this gathering. And they come in shapes, sizes, colors, forms, configurations, which many we've never seen before. So we're all assembled here. We're all gathered. The equator of this planet, Arya. Okay? And so we form a circle of light. We merge. We are one. And all that you see is this massive circle of light. It is so bright it grades out the darkness of space, and it would take at least 1 billion of the suns in the solar system to equal the brightness of this circle of light. So we form arm in arm, hand in hand. All of our gods together. All of us in full compassion, non-ego, non-negativity, non-judgment, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, and benevolence. And we're all one. And we're all the God, the pure consciousness. And we're all the love. And our God-light energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And it continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. Now, we continue to levitate. We begin to levitate above the planet, flooding everything with our light, our God-light energy. And so as we do, we come into a gossamer field. It's everywhere. Trillions of vibrant, brilliant colors reflecting and glittering everywhere. And so we're met with the emerald green flaming healing light of Archangel Raphael. This is a column that reminds us that we are the power of healing. We are met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column that reminds us of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. And then next, we are met with the white fire. This column reminds us that we have a white fire armor of pure consciousness of the God. And so to speak, this is our God armor. It is of the highest high frequencies of deep eternal love and gratitude. It is our progression to continually increase that fire, that light, with higher and higher and higher frequencies of deep eternal love and gratitude, and eventuality into total nirvana. Now, only us, only you, can change that armor. If you allow yourself to drift into the lower frequencies, and you do low enough, you will diminish your field of armor, your shield of the white fire, and they will come in. Now, we're also met with the purple transmuting flame. This is a column that reminds us that if we do drift into the lower frequencies and diminish our armor, our shielding, we can bring in the purple transmuting flame, and we can transmute those lower vibrational frequencies into neutral light substance, and we can literally send them back to the pure consciousness where they are no more. Now, we also are met with the violet ray. This is the column that reminds us that after the purple transmuting flame, we can bring in the violet ray, and we can purify, cleanse, and then reinstate high vibrational frequencies of deep eternal love and gratitude, and balancing once more our white fire armor into the highest of high frequencies. And we're also met with the golden white pink light. This is a column that reminds us of who and what we are. We are pure love, pure God, pure consciousness. We are perfection. We are divine. We are the divine of the divineness. And we are love, and we literally illuminate love everywhere. We flood everything. We love everything in everything. Can you imagine how this is affecting all of us, how it's affecting this planet, this civilization, all life, how it's affecting the solar system and all the planets, in all life. It is absolutely massive. It is spectacular. It is magnanimous. So as we continue to levitate, a lot of us decide that are carrying physical form to step outside of our bodies and float effortlessly above our bodies. And as we do this, we look and we see this massive column that we've all created. This column is larger than the solar system. And we designed it as being opaque, and it's iridescent. It literally shimmers with trillions of vibrant colors. And at the top of it, we designed it so that the golden ocean can cascade down from all sides, 360 degrees, flooding all of us, flooding, saturating, and bathing all life. The highest of the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude. And visualize that, because each of us is a drop of that golden ocean, and each of us hold the essence of that golden ocean. Now, we look a little bit over and we see our meditative sphere. This sphere sits center circle. We all created this sphere well over 2 years ago. It literally houses all of our meditations in perpetual motion. All of our meditations, every day. Well over 800 of them. They don't dissipate. They continue to intensify, and they continue to expand. This is why our meditative sphere can be seen, heard, and felt in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And this is why it affects all things. It affects everything and everything. And I'm talking about a high uplifting frequency of the highest of the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, and the highest of the deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love. And we all feel it. We're being bathed nonstop, flooded and saturated with this deep eternal love and gratitude. It vibrates with us because we are of it. And we look onto this planet Arya, and it is literally teeming with beautiful, vibrant particles that are saturating the whole civilization on and above and below this planet. And it is literally intensifying and expanding. So it's lifting the frequency of the collective consciousness of this planet, Earth, Gaia, Arya. And it doesn't stop, and it doesn't dissipate. It just continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. Visualize this in your heart minds, because it is absolutely magnificent. And now you know why there are others that want to be a part of this and want to witness this transformation. And they're all part of us. Just through your heart mind, you can feel them all. And their genuineness and sincerity and their high vibrational frequency. And we know that we all drift, that we all move off of center, that we all wander off. But once we become aware of this, we can focus, and we can stay in the now. And we can bathe in the love and the deep gratitude that each and every one of us are. And then we will be totally and wholly in a planet, on a planet that is in total paradise and filled with loving, nurturing, and deep gratitude gods. I'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out.
you.